So if you're running a business here in South Africa, you've definitely seen the ads for payment gateways, right? They all promise the best rates. But here's the thing they don't always shout about. That big, bold percentage they advertise. Well, that's just one part of the story. The real cost, that's usually hidden in the details. And this right here, this is the single most important idea you need to get your head around. Seriously. The percentage fee, that's what grabs your attention. But it's that small, sneaky fixed fee that they add to every single transaction that can just quietly eat away at your profits, especially if you sell low-priced items.
And that leads us to the big question, doesn't it? Which gateway is actually the cheapest for your business? We're going to tackle this head on. We'll break down the math, build a simple framework, and help you find the right answer for your specific setup. All right, let's dive in.
Okay, so to figure out the total cost, we first have to understand what it's made of. There are basically three key parts to almost every transaction fee. And once you see them, trust me, you will never look at those pricing pages the same way again.
First up is the one everybody knows, the percentage fee. This one's pretty straightforward. You know, if the fee is, say, 2.9% and your customer pays 100 Rand, the gateway takes 2 Rand 90. It's the headline number, the one they always put in big, friendly letters. Now, here comes the trap we were talking about, the fixed fee. This is a flat amount, maybe it's 150, maybe it's 2 Rand, that gets tacked on to every single payment you process. It doesn't matter if a customer buys something for 500 Rand or just 20 Rand, you're still paying that fixed fee. We'll see why this is so critical in just a minute. And the final piece of this puzzle is VAT. You see, payment gateways are providing a service, so their fees are subject to 15% VAT. The crucial thing to watch out for here is that some providers quote their prices excluding VAT. So if you're not careful and you don't add that 15% back on, your whole cost comparison is going to be way off. Okay, so that's all the theory. But let's make it real, shall we? We're going to run the numbers for some of South Africa's most popular gateways in a side-by-side showdown. Let's see who really comes out on top. All right, here's our scenario. Let's imagine you're selling a product, or maybe a subscription, for 200 Rand. And you make about 100 sales a month, which brings in a total of 20,000 Rand in revenue. This is a pretty common setup for a small online business or a niche e-commerce store. So let's see how those costs stack up.
First contestant, Payfast. After we run the numbers, that's their percentage fee, their 2 Rand fixed fee, and any payout costs. The total hit to your revenue for the month is around 1,275 Rand.
Okay, next up is Peach Payments. Now, with their fee structure, the total cost drops a lot. It comes down to just 851 Rand a month. That's a big difference already. And what about Paystack? Well, their mix of a 2.9% plus a 1 Rand fixed fee, once we add in the VAT, brings the monthly cost down even further to roughly 780 Rand. But for this specific scenario, we have a clear winner. Yoco, with its simple percentage-only fee, comes in at just 590 Rand for the month. But the question is, why? How is it so much cheaper in this case? So here's the full breakdown. Just look at that fee structure column. See how Payfast, Peach, and Paystack all have that plus R amount? That's the fixed fee. In our scenario, that small fee gets added 100 times. But now, look at Yoco. It's just a pure percentage. With no fixed fee stacking up over and over, it easily wins for this particular business model. And this brings us to what is probably the single most important variable in this entire equation, your average transaction size. Sometimes people call it ticket size. The cheapest gateway for one business can literally be the most expensive for another, and it all boils down to this one number. Here's a perfect way to think about it. Imagine a rideshare app selling 30 Rand trips. A 2 Rand fixed fee on top of that is like a massive 6.7% tax, and that's before you even apply the percentage fee. But for that 200 Rand subscription we talked about, that same 2 Rand fixed fee is only 1% of the total. You'd barely even notice it. And this chart just says it all. On that small 30 Rand transaction, a typical gateway with a percentage plus a fixed fee gives you an effective total fee of almost 10%. Meanwhile, the percentage-only gateway stays right at its advertised 2.95%. That fixed fee more than tripled the cost. It's wild. So how do you actually use all this information? Well, we've distilled everything down into a simple 4-point framework. Think of this as your go-to cheat sheet for making the right choice. All right, here it is, your cheat sheet. First, fixed fees are the absolute enemy of small transactions. If you sell low-cost items, you have to watch out for them. Second,
Always normalize for VAT so you're comparing apples to apples. Third, pay attention to payout fees and maybe plan your withdrawals. And finally, just remember that cheaper options like EFT can sometimes mean fewer customers actually complete the purchase. It's always a trade-off.
Choosing a gateway based on cost is a huge first step. But, the fee is really only half the story. The bigger question might just be, does the gateway you choose even support the payment methods your customers actually want to use? And that is exactly what we'll be breaking down in our next explainer.